good morning. Or is it afternoon? Thank you. Come on, it's a better morning than that. Welcome to what's a very, I think, important, momentous day for the town of Irondequoit. I'm Supervisor Dave Seeley, and today we mark the commencement, the official commencement of construction of a new 74,000 square foot Department of Public Works facility to house our 60-plus members of our DPW. So we're thrilled to be here. We're thrilled to have so many honored guests here. Really, it is honored to see so many important people here. So I think it marks the significance of this. You're going to hear from many of our honored guests shortly, but I just want to recognize some folks who are here that we're thrilled to have. From the Irondequoit Town Board, and hold your applause until I finish, please. We have Deputy Supervisor John Perticone, Councilman Pete Wayner, Councilwoman Nicole Hustler-Ray, and Councilwoman Kimmy Romeo. Please give them a round of applause. She's very shy, but we also have our terrific town attorney, Laura Smith, who did a lot of work on that, so I wanted to recognize her. Give her, there she is back there. In the county legislature, we have Joseph Morelli Jr. Thanks, Joe. And as always, just very happy to be joined by so many friends in organized labor. They're playing a big role in the construction and operation of this. Among others, from CSEA, we have Beth Watts. From the operating engineers, Grant Malone. From the bricklayers, we have Tony DePerna. From Unicon, we have Joe Leone. Did I miss anyone? Please give them a round of applause. Thanks for being here, guys. And I'll just note today, our partners in this effort have primarily been Krista Construction and Bergman Associates. They've done a terrific job getting us to this point and will continue to do so. From Krista, we have John Radici, and among others from Krista, and we have from Bergman, Joe Estevan. Please give them a round of applause. And that's all the clapping for the moment. Hands can go back in the pocket. So the words groundbreaking for a highway department facility typically don't generate a lot of fanfare. It's admittedly not the sexiest topic in the world, but there's a reason for that, I think. It's because in many ways the work that the Department of Public Works performs is really the most essential, fundamental things in government, things that we at times take for granted. If you think of the word public works, it really doesn't get more to the core of that, working for the people. When it snows, the streets are plowed. When it rains, we look for our storm sewers to take that storm water. When you have 80-mile-per-hour winds decimating your urban canopy, it's our Department of Public Works that's there making sure the infrastructure is safe. The Irondequoit Department of Public Works, so many I'm thrilled are here today, would gladly like to stay out of the spotlight. However, for the past 15 months, the people of Irondequoit had really no excuse to take the DPW for granted. And that's been in the eye of adversity, and I feel that the work that our DPW performs on a daily basis over that time really has fostered a new appreciation. So please give our DPW a round of applause. Well deserved. So on December 24th, 2016, around 10 p.m., I had just gotten home from celebrating Christmas with my family and turned on the movie Elf. Really a perfect way to celebrate and end Christmas Eve. I unexpectedly got a phone call from Deputy Supervisor John Perticone at about 10 p.m. and thought to myself, I don't think he's calling to wish me a Merry Christmas. About 20 minutes later, when I showed up at the Town Hall campus, obviously the priority was getting the fire out and making sure our firefighters were safe. Yet within a few hours, half of the existing highway department garage, much of which was an 85-year-old facility, was completely decimated. 17 vehicles of our fleet were destroyed, including our entire sanitation fleet. I just want to note, I don't know if we're joined by any of them today, but if it wasn't for the 100-plus volunteer firefighters who were on site that day, and also some west to east wind, thankfully, but we would have lost the entire building, and their work really goes without saying. The bravery and the work they did, it really saved us in many ways, so we're grateful for them. Thank you. So you really don't have a playbook for what to do next. It's never a good time to lose half of your highway department, but certainly is not a good time 3 days into winter. The next week, though, we saw really a manifestation of all that's good in government. I know County Executive Denolfo was there that night. Pat Meredith from DOT was there that night. But within days, we had already received several loaner vehicles from neighboring towns. The City of Rochester's mechanics garage became our mechanics garage. The state of New York particularly the Department of Transportation, in many ways became our greatest ally. Our biggest concern was being able to have a fully functioning highway department. However, that goes without saying. 2017, even if we had a fully operating highway department, 2017 was a year like none other. Whether it was wind, snow, water, flooding, everything really but locusts. I joke that my tenure as town supervisor is mirrored a book of the Old Testament, but again, it was a terrific job by our highway department. So that brings us to where we are today. This property, this is about as close to shovel-ready green space as you get in Irondequoit. We're built out entirely. We don't have large parcels of land. And in many ways, our public works facility was inadequately small. I never really realized how small it was relative to other departments of public works. We have the second largest highway department in Monroe County, yet one of the smallest Department of Public Works. So it's an added bonus as well. If us moving here today, we're going to remove that industrial core from Town Hall. It never really made sense to have a beautiful Town Hall, but right in the back of that really was something doesn't mesh well with the Park Lake setting. So it's terrific. Now we're going to have this expansive space to house our Department of Public Works, but as an added opportunity to that, we're going to be able to really reimagine the Town Hall campus in a way I think that we want to, in a way that we can have more amenities, more fields, more green space, more parking for the library. So what I'm most proud of is to get us here today, we've really taken a lot of adversity and I think put our best foot forward and use that as an opportunity. And that has not come without the help of so many partners who are here today. But I want to recognize just the Department of Transportation at the state, because getting here today involved a year-long process, and I try to explain to people how a year-long process is streamlined government. But if you could have seen the number of just boxes to check, and after we checked about 3 or 4, Bob Kiley and I, my highway commissioner, I said, wow, we're really making progress. And then Bob said, well, we have about 120 more to check. And that's just the nature of the beast. But the Department of Transportation, I'm confident, did everything possible to really get us here today. And the fact that December we had really the keys to the property, it allowed us to do what we want here. And we were able to design a facility that I think is going to propel us and really, in the long term, provide us with a more sustainable future in Irondequoit. So in closing, I guess we didn't choose to be here today. In all likelihood, if the fire hadn't happened, we wouldn't be here today. But I'm proud that we've looked adversity really in the eye. We thanked it for the challenge it presented and turned a bad situation into a great opportunity. So thank you all for being here today. And we're going to hear from some speakers. First up, again, the Department of Transportation, and Kevin Bush and Pat Meredith are here. But their leadership really, I can't tell you how many people from DOT we interface with, because it really is a lot of different facets of that department. So we're joined here, and really honored to be joined here by the Acting Commissioner, Paul Karras, and I'm going to invite him up to say a few words. Commissioner?
Good morning. Thank you, Supervisor Seeley. And on behalf of Governor Cuomo, I'd like to thank all of you for inviting me here this morning to be with you at this important occasion. I'd like to thank all of the elected officials who are joining us here this morning: Senator Funke, Assembly Majority Leader Morelli, County Executive Donalfo, County Clerk Bello, Legislator Morelli, and DPW Commissioner Kiley. What a wonderful day for the town of Irondequoit. This is a fine example of government working together towards a common goal, serving the public. We're proud to engage in a land swap with the town, and now proud to break ground on this brand new facility. Since taking office, Governor Cuomo has stressed the importance of agencies working with municipalities to share services and create efficiencies and economies where possible. The new initiative goes to the heart of that direction. This transaction is a win-win scenario for both the town and the state. At the Department of Transportation, we were able to hand over a surplus property that the town can make use of immediately. In return, we're taking over land that will be used to store and stage maintenance crews, equipment, and materials in emergency scenarios and near one of the area's busiest highway interchanges. This partnership not only benefits the government agencies involved, but also the people we collectively serve. I truly believe the best is yet to come with the shared services initiatives. Thank you again to the supervisor and to all the folks who had a hand in making this possible. And we'd also like to thank the dedicated men and women who strive daily to keep our roads, bridges, and highways safe. This is a great opportunity, and we look forward to what the future holds for Irondequoit's Department of Public Works. Congratulations.
Thank you, Commissioner. And again, we're very honored to have you here, and please extend our regards to Governor Cuomo as well. He's a true friend of Irondequoit and the area. I'm next going to ask someone to come up who, frankly, I don't know what we're going to do without next year. For as long as I can remember, my whole life almost, Joe Morelli has served Irondequoit in the State Assembly, and it's a mix of emotions because that time is winding down, and hopefully he'll be serving in some regard in the future. But I don't know, frankly, what we would do without Joe. He's been a terrific supporter. His support of our efforts to become a clean energy community and his guidance through that process is actually going to allow us to probably be the only highway facility in the area with solar panels installed on top, and that's through the NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program. And Joe was essential in helping us with that. So please give a round of applause to Assembly Majority Leader Joe Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, for that very kind introduction. I always say you learn things only when you fail at them. So my first mistake of the day that I will learn from is it's a lot colder than I thought it was when I got out of the car. I got out of a warm car. I should have been like Funky. I should learn from Rich Funky. And unfortunately, the supervisor followed my lead. So I'm not sure what that says about the two of us. But it's great to be here on this warm spring sunny day. Commissioner, thank you for making the trek to Irondequoit, and appreciate all of your help. And, of course, my friend Kevin Bush, the regional head of DOT. I'm delighted to be with all my government partners. This is sort of the modern-day version of a barn raising, where people would lose a barn and a community would come together to help the unfortunate family. In a sense, those of us who are government partners at every level stood together to make sure that we make something very positive out of something that was had the potential to be very tragic on that Christmas Eve a few years ago. I want to thank the supervisor. Irondequoit's really on the move. I mean, I think it's fair to say, Senator, that you and I do more ribbon cuttings and groundbreaking in Irondequoit lately than all the other parts of this community combined. I think with the new library, which was begun under Supervisor Bello, continued to this day, has become a great community resource. The work that we've done in terms of creating athletic fields, whether it's the ball fields behind Town Hall or the new soccer lacrosse fields that'll be over at Camp Eastman, all the work that we continue to do, and obviously the big community center and the announcement and the excitement around the refurbished Irondequoit Mall. Irondequoit's really on the move. I think not only the supervisor but the town board does an amazing job. I think I rarely speak for others, but I think Senator Funky and I, who are partners at the state level, continue to be very, very proud of this community and the great work that's being done. So I look forward to helping stand over there in the mud. The senator's shoes are much nicer and shinier than mine. I was at least smart enough to wear bad shoes today. But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm also looking forward to the ribbon cutting. So thank you to everybody who's involved in this. This is really a great day. God bless you.
Thank you, Joe. And for all the comments about the weather, with the past year and a half we had, this is actually a pretty good day. So let's just keep things into perspective. Senator Funky, since taking office, has been just a real champion for Irondequoit. And as Joe mentioned, him and Joe have partnered on a number of initiatives. And I can't tell you how often we just get really sometimes random calls from either the senator or his office asking if we need help. And he's been a terrific friend to Irondequoit. And please give a round of applause to Senator Rich Funky.
Okay, on the shoes, they are brand new, and they're killing my feet, so I might just get rid of them before we go over there. As far as helping Irondequoit goes, I know too many people here. They'd kill me if I didn't, so you know how that goes. And the weather is getting better, so thank God for that. Irondequoit is where I raised my family, and I've spent most of my adult life, so today's groundbreaking is a reflection, I think, of the tremendous resolve that this town and its residents have when it comes to adversity. When fire destroyed the DPW on that Christmas Eve, it was just great to see how many people came together from other towns and from the county. Public Works Commissioner Bob Kelly and Supervisor Seeley went to work reaching out to those neighboring towns so that we could keep things moving here, and the roads salted and plowed, and other vital services were delivered with as little interruption as possible to residents in Irondequoit. They reached out to Leader Morelli and me to keep us informed as to what was going on and what was going to happen from here. And out of this situation, this collective effort, we were able to take a look at a bad situation and say, where do we go from here and how can we make it better? And Irondequoit is a town that is, as Supervisor Seeley said, is nearly fully developed, which doesn't leave a whole lot of room for change and new buildings. And with the opening of the library in the town campus, a little bit more parking, getting the town trucks and equipment out of the town campus, maybe a little bit safer for communities there. And I'd just like to say a much better view of the ballpark as well. So the state had this land that we stand on today. Joe Morelli said to the governor, "Have I got a deal for you?" And here we are. The idea was hatched to put the DPW here. In my 4 years now as serving as your state senator, I've learned that things rarely move quickly when you need them to at the state level. But in this case, we were able to get this done relatively quickly, and I'm certainly thankful for that. So I'm happy to have been able to secure $1 million in state funding to help get this building up and going for the residents, but also for the town workers to have this new facility and to store the trucks and to service our community and keep things moving here. I'm going to close by just thanking the men and women from the Irondequoit DPW for all the great work that you do day in and day out, and all those in the construction and the building trades for what you're going to be doing on this project. Thanks very much for your hard work every day. Thanks, folks.
Thank you indeed. As I mentioned, it was early Christmas morning. I'm sure the last place County Executive D'Onofrio thought she was going to be was, standing next to me watching our highway department on fire. But from the start, she was very gracious in offering the services of the county. And moving forward, this whole campus really is every level of government involved. Monroe County Pure Waters has a tunnel over there, and in order for us to really get the keys to this property, it involved a great deal of cooperation with the county and us actually purchasing the service road from the county. So we were grateful to them for their working with us to streamline. So please welcome County Executive Cheryl D'Onofrio.
Well, good morning, everyone. It was my honor to be with you that night, Supervisor. For the first time in my 34 years of marriage, did I think that I was going to have our Christmas presents wrapped before the crack of dawn, and that did not happen on that Christmas Eve. But I have to tell you, let me first say, as a longtime resident of the County of Monroe, how proud I am, and I was that night, and I still am today, of all of our town DPW workers. You are really the heart and soul of the town of Irondequoit, and you certainly weathered the storm. Whether we're talking about the fire on Christmas Eve, the flooding, the windstorm, the snowstorms, you men and women keep our community safe, keep our residents safe, keep our town moving, and I am grateful. And on behalf of a grateful town of Irondequoit, would we all join in thanking our DPW workers who are here today? When you talk about weathering the storm, good leaders weather the storm, and my hat's off to Supervisor Seeley for the great work that he did that evening. I got to tell you, I arrived on the scene, and it was a nightmare. The building on fire. We have our cell towers right there on top of the building that was on fire, and that controls public safety for IPW, for the city of Rochester, for a lot of our fire bureaus. And Supervisor Seeley had it under control. And I really am grateful for his leadership that evening and his coordination with all of us who were on scene as well. I also want to say a special thank you to our county fire coordinator, Steve Shalaba, who was there that evening, all the volunteer firefighters. It was truly amazing, the number of firefighters, men and women, who gave up their Christmas Eve to come to the rescue for their friends and neighbors, even if they didn't live in the town of Irondequoit. It was certainly something to see. Our Deputy County Public Safety Director, Tim Kohlmeyer, I hired him just before this incident occurred, and he was out there that night making sure that everything was coordinated from that standpoint too. The volunteers who were there couldn't believe the number of people who pulled up with vans full of coffee and donuts and food for the people who were working through the evening. You know what? Monroe County has spirit. Monroe County has heart. Monroe County has compassion. And the job got done because everybody worked together, from our state partners to our legislators in Albany, to our town partners, to our legislators, and to our residents. I got to tell you, I'm so proud to be a member of this community, to be a resident of the town of Arundecoit. God bless the town of Arundecoit. Keep up the good work, guys. We're counting on you.
Thank you, Cheryl. You know, I just make a note. I know it's cold, but I always love these events because you want to act parochial and think that your community is the center of the universe. But Commissioner, you get a little bit of dose of how it works in Monroe County. The county clerk, the county executive, the majority leader, the state senator is an honorary Arundecoit resident, lived here much of his life. But I joke that Arundecoit is the alpha and omega of everything, but it really is in certain respects. So it's always fun when we bring the family together for these events because it's like an Arundecoit affair. I'd like to now ask someone to come up who I call the lucky supervisor. Not because he's lucky, because I think the town was luckier when he was watching over it, because since he left, I think we've had Mother Nature and other things, a string of bad luck. But Adam was, since I became supervisor, I've relied on counsel from a lot of people, but Adam is the one person I can always pick up the phone because I know he sat in that office and understands the job. And he had I had big shoes to fill, but he's always a friend of Arundecoit, will remain that. Was a terrific town supervisor, now a great county clerk. Please welcome Adam Bellow.
Thank you, David. Thanks, David. It's true. I was really lucky and blessed during my tenure as town supervisor. One thing David got to do a number of times that I haven't. I never got to declare a state of emergency. Now that's something you don't want to have to do, but I can't tell you how many times I looked at Twitter to see a state of emergency come across, and I said, David, what are you doing over there? Things are going around crazy here in this town. But I want to I'll be brief. I know it's cold here. We want to get to the big show, but I want to offer my congratulations to Dave, to the town board, to everybody in the DPW crew, everybody really involved in this project. I mean, this has been talked about for probably 10 or 20 years, the need for a new DPW garage, and it's just exciting to finally see all the different players in government come together to make this happen, because really it's a collaborative effort. To see my friends Chris and John from Krista back at it. These guys built our library, which is just a beacon of opportunity and the future for the town right at the town hall campus. Is great. And of course our friends from Bergman and the men and women in organized labor who are going to build this facility. I mean, this is putting people back to work, and it's really a building for the future of Arundecoit. But when I see what government's supposed to do and the role of government, it's supposed to be about taking challenges and turning it into opportunity. And that's really what this is, and that's what the town has really been about for 4 or 5 years. Joe had mentioned, he's never been to so many ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings and what's been happening here in our town. And that's because, under the leadership of Dave and the town board and all the government officials and town employees and the people who work here, is they've looked at these challenges that this town has faced and they've created opportunity. They didn't look at it as a problem that we shake our head at, but how can we turn that around and make this town a better place? That's what building the library was all about. That's what building the new ball fields is all about. It's that investment in the future. It's that investment in our children, and how do we want this town to look 20 or 30 years from now. And this building right here really creates 2 new opportunities. Okay, the first one is the opportunity that exists now at Town Hall. Dave said it earlier, when you're looking at the library that was just built there, the public market that opens over the summertime, the movies under the stars, the woodcraft camp, the new baseball fields, all those things that are making that complex really a place, a town center, a place for people to come and gather. Now we have that opportunity to expand upon that, because we're going to have more space and more land and more opportunity available to people. But the other thing this does is gives us an opportunity to really, I think now, rightly honor and thank the hardworking men and women in our DPW crew. When I was a supervisor in Arundecoit, I got to see firsthand how hard these men and women work. Getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock when that phone rings and you're called in for those plow runs, that's not easy to do. These guys get up in the middle of the night, they work all day, they're there at night. And all these other things that public officials get to announce, the ribbon cuttings, the groundbreakings, the new buildings and development, All of that is great, but none of that can happen unless our roads are taken care of, our sewers are working, and our infrastructure is up to the level it needs to be at. So these guys really do deserve our thanks. These are the unsung heroes of the town of Arundecoit, and I think they deserve a facility where they go back to it and they feel valued for the work that they do. I've gone to plenty of lunches with you guys. I still miss the Thanksgiving lunches. I mean, nobody, I'll tell you this, I love the clerk's office, but they don't make Thanksgiving dinner the way the DPW crew does in Arundecoit. But they really should be appreciated for their hard work, and I think this is another way to show them just how much the town of Arundecoit values what you guys do. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Adam. And last, I'm going to just ask our Highway Commissioner, Bob Kiley, to come up and walk us through some of the things that you're going to see happening here. But again, I feel very fortunate to have a terrific team at Town Hall, and it starts with the 4 members of the board, but and it extends it down to really every last worker. And Carrie Ivers is here, who did a lot of the environmental review and helped out with that effort. But really, Bob Kiley has done a terrific job from the start, and it's really been trial by fire for both of us, him as commissioner, me as supervisor. But everything that got us here today was derivative of Bob's leadership, and he's been a terrific quarterback to all of this. And very happy to have him serving on behalf of the town, but very grateful to have him as a colleague and for his assistance. So please give a round of applause to our Highway Commissioner, Bob Kiley.
I think Clerk Bello, you did say it very well. You know, the unsung heroes really are your DPW employees, and we've got a lot of them here. You know, the men and women of the Department of Public Works are and live a life that revolves around the unknown, on call 24/7, 365. And collectively, we pride ourselves on being flexible and able to respond when called upon. That Christmas Eve night, there was a call that went out at 10:30, not for a salt run or a plow run, as we would have done or can do and still do in the middle of the night or early hours of every morning. But it was for that the Department of Public Works was on fire. And so ultimately, while the firefighters battled the blaze, you know, it was really the team at Town Hall and our DPW workers working to figure out how do we maintain those vital services? How do we maintain that the roads will be plowed, that we can respond to the windstorms and the snowstorms and ice storms and all the like? And I'm so proud of the men and women of the Department of Public Works, many of them who are here today and have been acknowledged. And just one more time, folks, please, let's just acknowledge. It's been a challenging year, from the ice storms that we've had just recently to the windstorm in March, followed by Winter Storm Stella, followed by bagging sand through the summer months. The department and the employees matched each one of those challenges with unwavering nerve. The night of the fire, we figured, let's do things in threes. What are we going to do in 3 days? What are we going to do in 3 months, 3 weeks? And ultimately knowing that in 3 years, we were going to need a new facility. And I'm happy to report that we are on time with that, and we are under budget on that standpoint. With this groundbreaking, we embark on a project with a great team. As Supervisor Celia mentioned, it is Krista Construction as our construction manager, Bergman Associates as our architect and engineer. And with these 2 partners, we've developed a state-of-the-art facility and an ambitious construction timeline. As you can see, some of the earthwork has already begun on site, with Pooler Construction having previously joined our team, clearing the way for the future highway department. We've added other prime players just recently: Mark Cerrone Incorporated for Phase 2 earthwork, DiAgostino for general trades and the building itself, Neri Mechanical for the HVAC, Kaplan Schmidt for the electrical, and Thurston Dudek for one of the more critical components, fire protection and plumbing. We've added a great team, and we're very excited about that. Fire protection, that's always a good thing. We've added a great team, and I'm just very excited to have been part of this and am part of this project. I'd like to thank the dignitaries that are here: Majority Leader Morelli, Senator Funke, our county executive, Cheryl D'Onofrio, our county clerk, Adam Bello. Commissioner Karras, thank you for coming, sir. Your staff here is in the region is fantastic. Being able to jam through a 24-month process to acquire a property typically. And we did that in less than 12. And so Kevin, Pat, your team here locally are fantastic to work with. We filed the deed at the clerk's office at 3 p.m. and we awarded the site package for phase 1 at 4 p.m. So it doesn't get more ambitious than that, to having everything kind of line up together. So, and lastly, John, from the town board, the entire town board, for the confidence. I appreciate it, John. We've been through a lot of these meetings and planning meetings, and how the doors operate and the access control. It certainly can get intricate and confusing, and I just want to thank you for being there. And lastly, Dave, I certainly need to thank the Supervisor Seeley for the trust and confidence. We wouldn't be here today without, Dave, your leadership through a lot of these storms, and I'm very proud to work for you and consider you a friend. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, guys.
So the first rendering I saw, the blueprint, it had this little square and it said Commissioner's Office of the facility, and Bob works about 12 feet from me now, and I joked with Bob, if you think you're escaping me that easily, good luck, because you're going to have 2 offices still. I get off that ramp every day to go to work, and I can't tell you how thrilled it'll be to see so many people working on this site, putting people to work, and ultimately having our DPW working here every day in a few years. With that, thank you for being here. I'm going to ask the speaking program and some of our other folks to come grab a shovel, help us do the deed, and then we'll commence our days. Thank you, everyone. All right.
You gotta do the countdown.
Do the dirt, and then it's get the dirt in the shovel, and it's 1, 2, 3, throw. But make sure you're looking up. 1, 2, 3, throw. Yay!